it's Karen from Celtic Healing Corner. Welcome back, it's really good to see you again. Today we're going to look at our first video log to do with crystals for beginners. So welcome. And I just want to stress that you don't need to know anything to be here with me today. It's because I'm starting from the absolute basics. You may already know some of this, but it won't hurt for you to have it explained to you again. And then hopefully you're going to build on some new information that you either didn't know existed or you weren't aware of before. These lovely rocks are far more than just pretty stones. And when I talk about crystals, this isn't a geology lesson. So I'm including all sorts of things that come from the crystal kingdom from Mother Earth. So it will be about crystals, it will also be about rocks, minerals, other organic things such as amber, which is tree sap, fossils, or even petrified wood. I'm including all of those things when I talk about crystals because all of them have vibration, all of them have energy, all of them have ancient wisdom, and all of them have healing capacities. So just keep that in mind, that when I'm talking about crystals, they might not necessarily be things that have a crystalline structure, because I'm not being a purist in terms of the geology. Okay, so having a look at my crystals here, you can see that they are very attractive. They come in different colours, they come in different shapes, and they come in different sizes. Now, depending how attracted you are to these, you may find that you just want to collect some tumblestones, and that's fine. Most beginners start with tumblestones. The energy and the healing is still just as pure regardless. Obviously, larger crystals have more of the energy, so they are more powerful. And we'll talk a little bit later about different shapes and what difference, if any, that makes. But the first starting point is finding that you've even got an interest in them and that you're attracted to them. And obviously you are, or you wouldn't be here on this channel looking at this video. So let me tell you a little bit about them then, in terms of where they come from and how they grow. So they obviously come from Mother Earth. They're all gifts from Mother Earth. And they grow in a very specific way. Plato was the first to describe it, and he called it the Platonic solids. You may have heard of sacred geometry from Archangel Metatron. All of it is connected together, and basically all life has been proven by scientific method to come from the 5 Platonic solids that I'm going to share with you today. So the first Platonic solid is the Tetrahedron, which is a pyramid shape. And obviously most people are familiar with the pyramids of Giza in Egypt. But pyramids and this tetrahedron shape form all sorts of structures, from bridges to buildings to all sorts of things. The next Platonic solid is the cube. And this also is a building block of our society, but a building block of nature, where it stems from in the first place. And it's a hexahedron, so it has 6 faces. The tetrahedron has 4, this cube has 6. Then we move on to the octahedron, and obviously octa, 8 faces on this one. The next Platonic solid that we're going to talk about is the dodecahedron, and this one has 12 faces. And the last one is the icosahedron, and it has 20 faces. And all the faces on all of these are the same shape and size within their crystalline structure. Now, most of the crystals that you would look at, you would have to look under a very powerful microscope to look at the atomic structure to see which of the Platonic solids and how it comes together. However, there are some very interesting crystals that actually show us up front. Very, I guess, extroverted crystals, I suppose you could call them, because they're showing us how they grow right in front of our eyes. So, for instance, it doesn't take an Einstein to figure out that this piece of pyrite is actually going to be that second Platonic solid that we talked about, the cube. And this is how it grows in nature, totally raw and natural. You can see on the bottom here I've got a little one coming out. Further around here I've got another one. And if you look closely, there's actually one coming out, a little baby coming out of the top of that one as well. So pretty amazing. You'll also find that some crystals will show you that they grow in points quite naturally, either in a geode or as individual crystals themselves. And some of them even have a very striated appearance, like this kyanite. This is one of my favourite pieces because I think it reminds me of the head of a dragon. So very, very special, this one. This is my water dragon. So that's how they grow. And as I said, they're all filled up and grow from those platonic solids that I told you about. And the platonic solids work together with sacred geometry to connect everything. So all living things, whether it's plants, animals, even humans, are all built of these natural building blocks. And from that, we all connect to the universal energy source. Depending on where you are in the world, you might call it different things. For instance, if you're in China, you would call it Qi. If you're in India, you would call it Prana. If you're in Japan, you would call it Reiki. In the West, depending on your religious belief, it might be God, it might be spirit, it just might be the universe. Whatever you call it, the energy is the same. It is the life-giving energy. And everything is connected and everything is one. So that's why when we work with crystals or we work with nature, it affects us because we all resonate. And that's a fundamental understanding of how crystals work, in that everything has an energy. All matter is made up of energy in the first instance, that then forms into atoms and then forms into these platonic solids and then forms into physical form. Whether you're a tree or a person or a dog or a crystal, all of that energy is interconnected. And that's why the healing properties of crystals will work with our own energy. And I'll explain a little bit more about that in a minute. So once energy has manifested into that physical form, it then works to interact with other energy fields of other things around it. For instance, you may have walked into a room where someone's just had a big argument. There might be no trace of the actual argument, but when you walk in there, you can immediately feel a little bit anxious, a little bit on edge. It's because you're picking up that energy. The vibrations around those people, the vibrations around your environment have changed. And that's exactly what crystals do when they work with us. They change the vibration around us. There's a universal law of resonance. And these are all scientific principles. This is not stuff I'm just making up. It's backed up by science. So the universal law of resonance tells us that energy vibrations will match one another. So for instance, if you're feeling a little bit down, you might pick a certain crystal that you know is going to lift your mood, and it will rise and raise your own vibration. So you may have heard people talking about raising their vibrations or wanting to vibrate higher. And crystals is one way that you can work on that. Their vibration can also help you to heal certain things, like your chakras or your own energy fields that may have something stuck that needs releasing, or it may need rebalancing and cleansing. And again, certain crystals with their vibrations will be able to do that for you. And you're going to learn much more about that as you log into these video logs along the way. 80% of our Earth is made up of crystal. Did you know that? So it's like we're on this huge sphere of crystal. How fantastic is that? It's pretty exciting. Most of these crystals are formed under extreme pressure, some of them under extreme heat. And the way you care for them might be different depending on the crystal that you choose. There's another video log that will tell you about how you go about choosing crystals. But just trust that the vibrations that those crystals give off are the things that attract you, and your own vibration will draw you to certain crystals. So trust your instincts. Trust the fact that you are being attracted to the right crystal at the right time for the right purpose in your life. All of the crystals are ancient. As I said before, they're gifts from Mother Earth, and they have secrets, they have knowledge, they have ancient wisdom and ancient healing. Join me next time to find out more about crystals. See you soon.